I will. Hello, welcome to the project, The Future of the Digital World. It's a part of the Center for Ethics and Digital Technology at Yaroslav Mudryi National Law University activity. I'm happy to introduce you our guest, Zuzanою Bazel. She is an Associate Dean of Business Program at Southern New Hampshire University. Her areas of expertise include international business, fintech, administration, and education. She has an experience in the corporate sector and academia. Today we will talk about how can technology help build fair societies. Now you have the floor, Zuzana.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are, which time zone. Well, thank you for listening to us and taking the time to spend the next 10 minutes on our program. We appreciate it. And I hope you will learn new opinions and share them with other people you meet later. So when we look at today's world, our world is run through technology. And this is not the big technology we were used to as IBM or NASA came up with the big computers. Everyone, if you have a cell phone, you have a technology on hand and you can use it. And that is exactly what is happening. Now that is good and of course bad, which we will cover later, but I always start with the good news. So let's start with the good news and go into how technology can help us build fairer societies and how everyone can benefit from them. So let's start with social media. Everyone knows social media. There's so many of them. Let's start Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The newest trend is TikTok. If you have a cell phone, you have equal access to them across the world. Some governments might ban parts of them. I will warn about that. But if you have a cell phone, doesn't matter what race, sex, age you are, what country you come from, you can create an account, log in, and receive news, updates, posts through all the people who have access to the same media. And you choose to follow and read the news that they share. That is good because what we have seen this helped is when we look at how before world was run, how people received information, it was through state-run media and controlled media. So whatever the government wanted the people to know of specific country, they put in the paper. And that's how you receive media. It was very controlled. Now, independent journalists can post on their web pages and share immediate data. What we have seen in recent years is how social media truly helped promote democracy within governments and even help with revolutions. When we look at Egypt, because of social media, Twitter updates where young people could find up-to-date data and feeds on what is happening. Facebook created contact pages where people could meet up and say, okay, we need to go to this place and truly help to put protests or to make sure that the world sees what is happening. So when we look at all these data, all the social media work that is being done to promote free flow of information, it is great. And Egypt was just the start. Later on, the same happened in Tunisia. Young people, old people, everyone realized that they can share freely information and truly work together to make a fair society happen. And now that, of course, if you just think, oh, this is, Arab world, that is not true. When we look at Togo, Honduras, they use the same strategies. So you could see that it works across the world, not just in a specific area of the world.
Yeah, if I can I have a small remark? Yeah, we have this experience in Ukraine. Our revolution started with help of social media, and Facebook was a powerful space for connecting people, and we even had this first post of journalists who called people to join them on Maidan. So, yeah.
Exactly. And it's very powerful because you can get the information. You can ask people, come and help. We truly need your help. And people will respond, they will come and help. And I think that's great, honestly. But, you know, then you have Myanmar. How many people would see a military coup in as is happening? And then you have a trainer on Instagram screening herself, and there's a coup happening behind her. We wouldn't have seen it before in the world. That would be all closed and controlled by media, run by governments. So that is really important. Now, are there some issues? Yes, we will get to them later. But overall, that the power of having information flow is exceptional, and we should never take that for granted. Now, if we look at other technologies, not just the social media, because social media is very important, but there are other technologies that make the life of people on a daily basis much easier. When we look at new financial technologies, which I'm passionate about, that's why I'm going to mention them. Across the world, if there was a lot of population that had no access to banking. So you had a lot of population who could not receive any other way money than or payment for their work than in cash. Nowadays, again, if you have a cell phone, some governments started doing online banking for unbanked population. You are expanding and making fair access to banking to unbanked populations previously. And why is that important? Because a lot of the unbanked population in the world are women. And they had no access to loans if they wanted to start business. They had no access to their own money. And all of a sudden you make this happen and people can access money and banking from their cell phone. And that is important because you can go anywhere in the world and pay with it from your phone if it's connected on the right network. And that's also important. Now, job searching. Before you had to buy a newspaper and circle the ads. Now, or go to the library and search on computer if you didn't have a computer. Now you can, again, from a cell phone, you can set up your searches, have your LinkedIn on it, and pretty much network right from your cell phone. With the remote work, that opens a lot of opportunities for advancement in your career and for a lot of other opportunities of getting into a different career. So that opportunity for job search online on your cell phone makes you a more prepared and more involved candidate for every company looking to hire. And that
sounds so good, so optimistic. I'm absolutely agree with you that the today's technologies, they can give us many possibilities, and they can influence positive on equality, on fairness of our societies. But actually, what about the negative sides?
Yes. Let's go to the negative. So when we have to, I mentioned all the social media and I mentioned all the data, all the finance technologies, the job searches. We have to realize that those are all private companies. They are listed on the stock market, so they do have shareholders. So in a way, they are public because they have to disclose. There's financial statements, but we have to realize these are all private companies. So you can't expect the government to step in and say, what kind of content can they market? What do they do with data? And in today's world, data is the major currency for every company, And you know that, Yulia, right?
Yeah.
I mean, data runs the world. These companies know everything, where you are, what your interests are, because they can tag you. Oh, I just checked in at this store or this restaurant. And then you see all the targeted ads and so forth. So you know the data is being shared, but they don't have to disclose how and where. And that is an issue. Then misinformation too. I mean, we can control what's on there. So there could be some misinformation that if people believe it, and there's some high profile celebrities that recently had that happen where they shared information that was not necessarily true. And because they had a lot of followers, everyone believed it. And that is the downside of social media. Also, banning people. They can ban random people for their own internal policies and procedures. And then how do you appeal that? There's no appeal process if you're banned from a social media. If Facebook decides we pulled your account because, you know, you had inappropriate picture in our view, appeal to. Facebook, they just ban you and they own it. So where's the appeal process? There's just no fair appeal process for people.
Yeah, companies today, they can have much more power than governments, but they didn't bear the responsibility of government. They even didn't bear of responsibility of editors as traditional media, I mean. Yeah, it's it's non-optimistic side. What do you think, which type of responsibility, I don't know, or which ways to resolve this problem could we take?
So the problem is these companies would not want the government to step in and police their internal policies and procedures. We could educate the users of these technologies. What is fake news? What is appropriate information to share and not to share? And actually demand from these companies to tell us how the data is used and shared. Because you can protect personal data and they should be responsible for telling their customers how their data is used. And I think that is a non-negotiable in my mind. I would like to know how you use the data you collect on me. What do you do with it? Do you sell it? What is my data? Where does my data end up? And of course, educating customers on, or users on, you know, the TikTok challenges, for example. If stealing in real life, if you don't go to store to steal, why do you do it when somebody tells you this is a challenge? I mean, you should not be treating it differently than you would do it normally. It's a criminal act, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Or tampering with food in restaurants because somebody asked you on social media, this is a great thing, post it, you know, you will get likes. Sometimes people just have to use common sense. If it's not okay to do it in real life, why is it okay to post it on social media that you did it?
Could we educate people not only manage their data, but educate them to be more careful regarding to influences, this influences the company have on all of us? I mean, you are right that data is our new currency. I think even more that attention and trust are also our new currency and companies use them.
Exactly. So yes, we can educate, but the reality is that the draw of some of these technologies, the draw to be visible, the draw to have followers is sometimes bigger than the education we can provide. And the information is out there, we tell them is wrong. Make sure you really think about what you're putting out there. But the draw of being visible and getting those likes is high. And you know, then you have other technologies like what I was talking about, not only social media, but the technology for finance and so forth. How many times did we hear about breaches, data breaches, and stolen identities online? So there is always risks associated with online media. No matter what happens, there is always risks. We have to learn how to minimize them and mitigate them, but they will never go away.
Thank you, Zuzana. I hope we will have to learn, and I hope we still have hope to use the preferences of technologies. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us, and have a nice day.
You too. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.